Okay, so sorry. So we just went all through all the negation, right? So those are the symbols. Is at least is greater than or equal to, not less than is a greater than or equal to, is at most is a less than or equal to, and not more than is a less than or equal to. Sorry about those watching the video. We started the video a little late. All right, number two. Number two. Whenever I get to this point, I always think of a really old movie. I'm not even sure if I ever watched the movie, but it became a craze because of the symbol. Don't draw this. I can't draw. You guys know I'm horrible drawing. Okay, right. It was Ghostbusters, right? And that was the symbol. That's actually a universal symbol, the circle with the line through it. If you were to drive in Europe, and I know some of you have been in Europe, right? You've been overseas. And if you look at road signs, you'll see road signs sometimes with a circle and a slash through it. What does that slash mean? What does it mean? Yeah, it means not or no. Here it's negation. Negation. You're negating it. And our regular inequality symbol can be negated. It can be negated. By the way, the bottom one, let's do E, because you all know E already, right? What's the equal sign with the line through it? It means what? Does not equal, right? Or is not equal to is another way you could say it. Okay. So we've got to go through our symbols and make sure that we know what the symbols represent. And again, I got to be a little careful on my time right now, so I'm probably going to do a little bit less explaining and a little bit more just showing you where we're at. But here's what I'm saying. Don't write this in your notes. Let me get you to think for a second. This would be something that would work. 7 is not greater than 10. That's a true statement, is it not? I just read just what 7 is not greater than 10. Isn't that what it says? Right? So really, what symbol would it be that doesn't include the line through it? What symbol would it be without the line? Alex? A little bit more than that. A less than or equal to. A less than or equal to. Because a moment ago when we were going through the other ones, I told you, hey, what was the key number in them? If I use the key number here and put 10 in, 10 is not greater than 10. Isn't that true? So it can be the equal to part. You see how the equal to part works? Now, what's the shortcut? Look at the symbol, flip it. If it doesn't have a line, put a line under it. That's the shortcut. That's pretty easy. So if you can't understand the reasoning logic to it, you can always do the shortcut. Flip the symbol. If it didn't have a line, put a line under it. If it did have a line, don't put the line under it. It's that simple. All right, so again, be careful here. This symbol, this is now a less than or equal to, right? So it started out greater than with the line through it. We reverse it to a less than. It didn't have the line, so we put the line under it. So B would be what? Say it if you know it. A less than. Again, you flip the symbol. If it had a line, you get rid of the line. You're doing the inverse, the negation of it, the opposite, if you want to think of it that way, of it. And again, you can play with numbers, and if I had more time, I would, and all that would make sense. Okay, so, excuse me. So logic thinking. All right, I just got rid of my whole, oh, it went up there. Go back where you belong. Okay, so if you look at C, what would the normal symbol be without the negation? Don't say it yet. Look at C. Everybody get in your mind. what you're going to say, and on 3, I want you to say it with words, right? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Good. You guys got the idea, right? These aren't hard. They're not hard. This is a greater than or equal to. Greater than or equal to. And therefore, D should be A. Say it if you know it. A greater than. And that's how those go. Negation. But you got to remember that. Flip the symbol. If it has the line, don't include the line. If it doesn't have the line, include the line. It's that simple. Negation. So we've been dealing with inequalities of the equation type. Again, they're not an equation, right? Because an equation is equal. But we've been doing inequalities and solving them. So let's do a couple examples here. So the wise student, when they're doing problems like this, the first step they do, I'm looking at number 1, is take care of their symbol. Does this have to be done right away? No. Is it the wisest? Absolutely. It's wisest to deal with the negation symbol first. So instead of a is not less than, what should I put? Greater than or equal to. So right off the bat, I take care of the negation. Does that make sense? Now it's a problem we know how to do, right? Now all we're doing is isolating the variable. So somebody raise your hand and tell me what to do next. What's the next step? Blake? Divide each side by 3. Hey, Blake, should I flip the inequality symbol? No? How many agree with Blake? Do not flip the inequality symbol. How many think I should flip it? Good. No one's flipping out except maybe 1 or 2 of you, huh? That was one of those, oh, I'll scratch my head deal, right? Yeah, okay. So n is greater than or equal to 6, and that's the solution to that inequality. If you were asked to graph it, can somebody explain how you would graph this? Jack? Okay, so how many agree? Circle over the 6, line to the left. Nobody agrees. Somebody want to give me another choice? Andrew? Dot over the 6, arrow to the left. Right, that way. Okay, everybody agree with that? We got 1 or 2 agreeing on that one. So who's got something else? Raquel? Circle over the 6, arrow to the right. How many agree with Raquel? All right, some of the ones that agree before, but that's not everybody. Do we have another? Do we have another? I'm trying to pick on somebody who hasn't said anything yet. John? Dot over the 6, a line to the right, an arrow to the right. How many agree with that? That should be everybody. Dot over the 6. Is the 6 included? Yes or no? Because of the line. What does the dot say? The 6 is included. Which way is the arrowhead pointing? Okay. So maybe some of you meant right when you said left, but you don't know your right from your left. That way is right for you. Okay, so number 2. So class, what are you going to do first on number 2? Take care of the negation, right? So let's see. Antonio, what symbol would you put for the inequality symbol? Less than or equal to. How many agree with Antonio? Less than or equal to. Somebody have something else. Alexandra, what would you put? How many agree with Alexandra? Less than. Okay, so remember, flip it. If it has a line, don't put a line. If it doesn't have a line, put a line. Okay. Now we still have the negative 2x plus 1 minus 5. Go ahead and solve that. Go ahead and solve that. Finish that one out yourselves. All right, Natalie, give me the next step. Great choice. Natalie says I'm going to move that positive one by adding its opposite to both sides. I got negative 2x less than negative 6, right? 5 negatives and one more negative, 6 negatives. Next step. Wyatt, what are we going to do next? Divide each side by negative 2. Just like that. Sound good? So Wyatt, finish the answer for me. What's the answer? Ah, okay, good. I always change it right away when I do that, so I don't forget. But Wyatt is correct. He did divide by a negative quantity, reverse the symbol, and what do you get? X greater than 3. How many got that correct? Okay. And if not, find your mistake and take note of what's giving you trouble. Take note of where your issues are, if you have issues. Let's do another one. Number 3. Number 3. Number 3. All right, so Hector, what symbol do you want to use to get rid of the negation? I think I heard you. Say it again for me. Less than. How many would agree with Hector or less than? And that should be everybody, because Hector's right. Flip it the other way. It had a line, don't include a line. Okay, we still got everything else. 8, 2n minus 4 minus 6n. Okay, I need a next step on this. Next step. Be careful. I want everybody thinking of the next step, because I dare say a problem like this, after a while, a lot of people make a mistake. Kyle, go for it. Awesome. Great job. A lot of people try to move something. Aren't these on the same side? Right? They're on the same side. We add up like terms. 2 positives and 6 negatives leaves you 4 negatives. So we have a negative 4n. So I still have the 8, the less than symbol, the negative 4n minus 4. Okay, for time's sake here, now let's isolate the variable. It's right there. So I'm going to add a positive 4 to both sides. I get 12 less than negative 4n. We can use the shortcut. Instead of multiplying by the reciprocal, we can divide by negative 4. And I always remember when multiplying or dividing by negative to do what? Flip the symbol. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. That's a negative 3 is greater than n. If I were asked to graph this, what would I do next? If I were asked to graph this, Sam? I wouldn't do anything like that yet. If I do, I'm probably going to get it wrong. 99% of you are going to get it wrong if you try to graph it right now. 99% of you. Ileana? I need to swap the sides. I want the variable on the left because my brain works way better when the variable's on the left. So I'm going to take what's on the left and what's on the right and put it on the left, and what's on the left and put it on the right. And as Ileana said, remember, whenever you do the symmetric property with inequalities, you flip the symbol. Now when I go to graph this, do I use a circle or a dot? Say it if you know it. Circle. There's no line underneath. And does my arrow point to the left or to the right? To the left. So circle over the negative 3, arrow to the left. And that's how all of these go. That's the situation. Jordan. No, 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 no. The dot and the circle is whether or not there's a line underneath or not. Less thans or greater thans, no line underneath, are always circles, meaning the number below it doesn't get included. If there's a line underneath, it's the equal to part. The equal to part is the number, and we use a dot. Okay? The way the arrow points tells you which way to put the arrow if your variable's on the left. And that's why we put the variable on the left. Andrew. Yes. Is what supposed to be what? No, because, watch, follow the math here, Andrew. We were here. We divided both sides by a negative, and I reversed my symbol when I divided both sides by a negative. I then did 12 divided by negative 4 and got negative 3. My negative 4 n's divided out, and I got n. So that line is correctly negative 3 greater than n. Then I wanted my n on the left with my number on the right. Whenever you reverse sides with an inequality, you have to reverse the inequality symbol. N less than negative 3. All right, we do one more. Let's just begin this, and we'll stop there. So we'll just begin it, and then we're going to quit there. Who am I going to pick on right now? Byron, what do you want the symbol to be? And hopefully everybody agrees with Byron, because Byron is right. Are we going to add the 5 and the negative 2 right here? Are we going to do that? If we do it, what are we violating? Order of operations. So leave the 5 sitting there, and let's distribute the negative 2. Negative 2 times 3a, negative 6a, right? What do you get on the second distribution? Positive 6, good. And then you still have the positive 8, thank you. Kool-Aid, I drank the Kool-Aid. And then you have the plus a, and then the symbol and the negative 8, agreed? Okay, for time's sake, we're not going to finish. But again, notice how these a's are on the same side, right? They're ready to add up. By the way, the numbers are ready to add too. And then you can move stuff and finish. All right, let's get to the last problem on the back, because it's a word problem. All right, so the problem says, find the largest 2 consecutive integers where their sum is less than 89. Again, I'm picking an easy problem to help you learn the concept. As I taught you, the first thing you want to do is NTV. So what are we going to call the first number? Say it if you know it. I agree, y, x, z, if they don't tell you. Any variable will do. All right, wait for me. So this is key. You got to think, all right, what are we talking about? Largest 2 consecutive integers. If the first number is n, the second number is, say it if you know it, n plus 1 consecutive. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's by ones. Consecutive odd by 2s. Consecutive evens by 2s. Consecutive by 1s. N plus 1. Okay. We don't have an is in this sentence, do we? Well, we do, but we don't have an equal sign in this. This isn't an equation. This is an inequality. Therefore, you better know what symbol to use for less than. Which way does an arrowhead point for less than? To the right or to the left? To the left, and therefore you know how to do the symbol instead of the people that only learn alligators and monkeys and whatever else eat stuff. Okay? You have no clue what's going on. It's an arrowhead pointing to the left. All right, so we got a less than. We're looking for a keyword. What keyword do you see before that less than symbol? Say it if you know it. Sum. So we're going to add. Look, this stuff's easy. Math's not hard. Just got to keep from making mistakes, right? That's what kills you. Mistake, mistake, mistake. Okay, so what's the first number? Say it if you know it. What's the second number? Say it if you know it. And what goes on the other side? 89. All right, I got to go a little fast for time. Next line, 2n plus 1 less than 89. Add a negative 1 to both sides. 2n less than 88. Divide both sides by 2. and less than, 44. Now, wait a minute. Let's answer the question. Find the largest two consecutive integers where their sum is less than 89. Is n 44, yes or no? No, it's not. N is less than 44. What's the number less than 44? So that implies we start at 43. What would the second number be? 44. That's the answer to the question. 43. Add them up. What do you get? 87. They're the largest consecutive numbers that you can add up to that's going to be less than 89. If you try 44 and 45, what do you get? 89. Is 89 less than 89? No. You got to think. Got to think about your answer. Got to think about your answer. Got to think about your answer. All right, here's the homework for tonight. Last homework of the chapter. Chapter review tomorrow. Test on Monday. Chapter review tomorrow. Test on Monday. Page 338. 13468. 910. 16 says Chester. And 44 through 46 should be enough. Use the odds to help you learn. Use the odds to help you learn.